Hey, welcome back to this behind the scenes look at Shrimp of the House Recall. We're still here in part three. This is page 20. Um, at least as of now, it's page 20. Let's see who. I'm not 100% sure if I'll stick with the order that I've got them in now, or if I move the conversation that I'm going to start here with Alex and Danny, if this conversation is going to get moved up and then the previous page gets pushed back. What are we looking at? It's in my head. There's different reasons for structuring the story each way. The idea that um, like you just run all the scenes with David and Liz and whatever out there together right from the point Liz brings him out. But there's also a structural sort of argument in my head for back on page 18 where she brings him out and he's like, "Where's Alex?" And then you cut here to show where Alex is. And honestly, like, this is the format I'm leaning at. Let's see. I'm trying to think how to position these two because what's going to happen? Let me just turn them and I'll show you. But it's what I'm trying to think of here and how to position these two. It's the idea is Danny gets the first panel, so the angle on him should be this way, so that he's looking across the page, and then the angle on Alex's response should be this way, so that he's looking at Danny. But in my head, what I was thinking was putting Alex sitting on the end of the bed, like what's his name was Monique when they were in the room before, and putting Danny in the computer chair. But as I'm thinking about this, I'd end up in like that familiar territory where the angles, I have to get a weird camera angle to get that same look. So like, one possibility is putting Alex in the chair and having Danny stand over here. And that might be. Let's see. I'm going to unparent the chair just to make it easier to find because I don't really know. Oh, actually, let's expand this again. Oh, that's not good. That's why. Okay, so we're gonna just go none, and then I'm just gonna change the color. Actually, I guess I gotta bring the ambient down too. There we go. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna manually adjust the chair to 135, angle of 135. What is going on? Is that the ambient? Hmm. So that way I can turn him to 135 and just have him match the chair. Plus, I think going back to the. Oh, he's not even level. Okay. Plus, going back to the page numbering. Question. I think I want another. I think the idea is I want another page of them hanging out in that room. But it's always the question is like, if I just have them all sitting there and you see just Eva fondling him like she was in the previous page. It's a question of how interesting can it really be if that's all they're doing. So I think one argument in my head for doing it like this, structurally, the order of the pages, is that it breaks it up. Yeah, see, and then if so let's just bring that up a little bit. Yeah, see, that's a more interesting shot. I won't, and I won't have Danny sitting, but I'll still put him against the bed. Manually adjust that 90. Oops, what did I just do? Oh, and it wants to zoom out as far as possible every time I hit the focus key. Oh my god, and stop doing that. And delete the keys on the legs. Oops. Yeah. obnoxious this is. Hmm. Probably used. Okay, not too much. Let's see. Let's see. Spin the arm to make it a little more interesting. $31. What's up? Kind of serious. And I think I can square it up like that. Yeah. And it's funny, kind of thinking more and more on this idea that Alex's long-term direction is going to be to sort of find a girl, get married, and have a kid across maybe a 2-year in-story time scale. It sort of has me brainstorming all kinds of little ideas. Maybe not necessarily full stories. Maybe not stuff that'll end up getting used, but it does have me thinking that whoever it is he ends up getting married to, I'll I'll have to create a family for her to sort of integrate in. And that does give me the idea of like maybe working in a whole story where he's got to deal with the mother-in-law, whatever she's like, whatever she's like. I don't, I don't haven't really thought about that. Whether it's just, whether she's a total witch or she's like so nice that it gets to be annoying and obnoxious. Oh, you've got the picture. There we go. part of me is thinking that whoever the girl ends up being, ah, that she's somebody he works with, which might seem kind of weird, but I mean, usually that sort of crosses a whole bunch of ethical boundaries. Relationship with a coworker, yeah, that never ends well. Could also be that one of the guys he works with hooks him up with his sister. Let's see. Oh, you know what? And I've said this. I've said this in a previous video, and I never seem to learn it. So we're going to set up different cameras on their heads so that I can just go back and forth. Okay, well, I'm generally happy with his pose. The eyes have to go up a little. Oh, whoops. I don't want to fall. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's good the way it is. Let's see. Get serious. Let's see. Oops. In the Marines. I don't know what it was like when we were in the Marines. I think that's about as well. No, if I try to square that up, if I try to condense that, it's not going to end well. So, it's almost like a few months back, I was kind of like in my head, jokingly coming up with an idea for a spin-off with Alex. And it's like the more I think about it, the more I wonder if that's the direction I should go. Let's see. Is instead of trying to write the future of Shrimp in the House, keeping Alex on, if I spin Alex off into his own series. Although I don't know. Yeah, let's physically split that. it's almost like in my head it's getting kind of harder and harder to work in the size change aspect in when I'm sort of like trying to increasingly deal with real story with sort of like some of these stories. It almost becomes like how do you work it in into a new series like that if he moves out and gets away from the size changer. Then it's almost like his new wife has to reintroduce it into that household. Yeah, I was kind of afraid of this. You know what, let's deal with this first. Whoops. Sort of the joke idea I had, and I might have mentioned this before, was that the spinoff would involve him actually leaving for college. Okay, that's good. Not quite what I wanted, but and the idea is like his roommate would be like a science technology major. Control C on that. The premise of the spin-off series would be his roommate is a science technology major working on a shrink ray for his school for his class project, and is just constantly testing it on Alex, his roommate. Yeah, that looks good. And I've got to put a camera on this. We'll zoom in a little. We don't want it to look like the same shot. Okay. Let's grab this one. I will control C and go edit. Paste as new layer. command doesn't never doesn't expect you. You're always doing stupid, we'll say crap instead of shit. Stupid crap. Let's see, it has nothing to do with um what do I want to use? We'll just go service. Always horrible, your command doesn't respect you, you're always doing stupid crap. Chain smoking alcoholic. Select none. But this one's not. Okay, there we go. Oops. Open as layers. Yeah, now that it's got me really thinking if I should just do it as a spin-off. Let's get layer 33. Because I almost feel like that, it's like, I think even when I was working on it, I toyed with the idea of making Claymore Jane a spin-off instead of an installment in the main series. Invert, shrink. And a part of me, even to this day, kind of still wishes I had. Whoops. I'm gonna merge this down first. Okay. Undo. I end up, I'll end up moving the image if I have questions about whether or not it's flush with the edge of the line. Oops, and I forgot to paste the new layer. Oh well. Let's see what is. see. And I kind of throw this all out there because, not because it's what I'm going to do. I'm just voicing ideas, trying to get a feel for where I want to go in the future with this. I'm serious, Uncle Danny. And I'm not entirely sure what I would call the new series, now that I think about it. Let's see. But I guess that's a ways off. See, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. So the idea is he's living at home while he's starting. Let's see if I've got this straight. He'd be living at home, still in this current main series, while he's starting a new career, so to speak, hooking up with this girl, and decides to get married. So it's like, what would be the so it's the vehicle for spinning him off into his own series would be the moment he decides to buy a house for the new family. Oops. Ugh. Open as layers. 4. Okay, I'm over on this side. I mean, I sort of like the idea that I think this has to come up 1 pixel. There we go. Oops, and I went over too far. Okay, so now I got to add a new layer because I forgot to paste the other one. But I sort of like the idea that at that point where he decides to move out, providing a catalyst for David and Liz to buy a new house and sort of kind of revamp the visual scenery that way. So the idea would be that they end up buying they end up buying houses right next to each other, living next door. I don't think this is going to square anymore. So the idea of keeping Alex and his family on canvas that way, that like being next door, they're always conveniently visiting each other. Let's see, I want to control C that, edit, paste it here. Upside down. I think too early on, I think especially in the very first story, there was the theme where David's kind of struggling, is sort of like in that midlife crisis mode where he's struggling with his kids growing up and like reflecting on him being old. So it could be interesting when he's like realizes he's going to be a grandfather and that sort of throwing a monkey wrench. Open as layers. Scale. Okay, and where do we cut this here? Here maybe? Yeah, whoops. Image size. Then again, it's like I'm save. I'm sitting here thinking about it, but it is quite a ways off. Okay. Oh, I'm on Danny's head. What the heck? Oh my god. 36. Render that. Because this sort of this is a layer. Because like that would be like about a year in story off. Oops. Yeah, you did. And I gotta fix this. The idea is that each in-story year takes 3 to 4 individual books. So I think the first year in story was 4 books. The second year was 3, and then the third year, this will be the final story of year 3, and this is the 4th book in the year. So I'm thinking year 4 will end up being 4 stories, whatever they are. And I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if, like, at the end of year 4, the story will be in a place where Alex is ready to get married. Because as far as short term, what I want to do with this series is volume 12, the next story, is going to be set over the summer. Um, I can't really settle on anything exact, but I want to do a vacation story. There's sort of been hints dropped here and there that they go away for vacation every summer. So I think so. It's in my head. Volume 12 will be some sort of a story where they go on vacation. But again, I'm not sure what I want to do with it, or sort of what elements that I'm brainstorming will go into that. And I've hit on this idea that I really like. And it's, again, I don't have the story to go with it. Edit, cut. Oops, cancel. the idea that volume 13 would coincide with the autumn, the fall story. I don't think. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. I'm thinking of a Halloween story. The idea is that somebody is just telling a horror story, and you watch it on play with the in-story characters playing the fictional characters in that character story, sort of, like one of those situations. So it's you get to, the idea is you get to watch the characters going through a horror scenario, but it's not canon. Like at the end, nobody is dying or whatever because it's just a fictional story one of the characters is telling. I like to do that for a Halloween episode, which leaves me 1 to 2 stories left. So, the idea is, do you rush through a romance and have him get married in 2 stories? Probably end up being like maybe in year 5. Should be like 6 stories off. What do we want to do? Export? Maybe 6 stories. What do we want to do? Okay, let's pop these into the folder. See, now this is what I should have been doing all along, was 2 cameras. So then as you see, like the camera pushes in on each character with each shot. What's up? You seem kind of serious. I was wondering what it was like when you were in the Marines. It was horrible. Your command doesn't respect you. You're always doing stupid crap that has nothing to do with your service. You're miserable all the time, and you come out a chain-smoking alcoholic. Yeah, I'm serious, Uncle Danny. So am I. Do you know how hard it was to quit smoking and cut back on the drinking when Eva got pregnant with Rose? I was thinking of joining like you did. Well, that's page 20. I know I'm using these just to kind of voice. I seem to be using these more to voice my ideas, to get them out loud, and to, I guess, like with this whole thing, the whole idea of these has been to give you a glimpse into my work. I guess like joining me on my brainstorming ramblings gives you an idea on sort of what goes on in my head when I'm when I'm kind of like formulating a story and trying to drill it down. But anyway, that was page 20, I think, right? Yeah. So I will see you next time, and thank you for tuning in